Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Usually want to start at the bottom of the hour, like at 5:30, but Central Standard Daylight Time, Central Daylight, and that's why it's still dark. A little bit of light coming through now, but not really much. I usually don't want to start this late, if you want to call 6:01 a.m. late, but I did watch highlights for all the Major League Baseball games last night. It was 13 of them. 14, sorry, 14. And so that's about 3.5 minutes per highlight. So it took about an hour. So that set me back. But I watched them all, and then I wanted to read the box score and the game recap for the White Sox and Cubs. So that took longer. All right. I have two blended Irish whiskeys. This is Two Gingers, introduced in 2011. An Irish-born American bartender developed this brand, named after two redheaded women, one of whom was his mother. And that's a double meaning because it's twice distilled, double distilled, not triple distilled. They use pot still and column still, I think. So there's the three colors of the Irish tricolor, or they pronounce it tricolor: green, white, and orange. Kilbeggan Distilling Company. So this was distilled by Kilbeggan of Ireland. The man started the brand, did not own a distillery, so he had to contract somebody to make it for him. There's this common Irish whiskey cap. I have other brands with that same exact cap. I don't know if that's all for Kilbeggan, if that's the cap they use, and so anything with this cap is from them, or if it's just a standard cap that any distillery can buy. You know what I'm saying? Like a product of art, like a generic cap. Sean says, I drank yesterday some Absolute vodka and Four Locos. The 700 milliliter bottle of vodka was $22.50 in euros. Ridiculous. The Four Locos were like almost €6 for one can. That's crazy. Ireland's alcohol price the last 3 years is ridiculous. Well, you need a better government. Oh, the Four Loko 8.4%, 440 milliliter. They're 13.9% in the United States, 13.9, and they're in let's see, so yeah, about 700 milliliter cans, huge can, 700 milliliter. Okay, so here's Two Gingers, been on the market for 14 years. And I can get this $14.99 still today. It's got a brown label, clear glass brown label with the Irish colors. So yeah, $14.99. I can get that right now. Well, if I drive to that town. So we do need a new government. I agree with you. Yeah. Proper number 12. Now, France, what they're doing in France is trying to do like they did in the United States, bring charges against potential candidates. Like there's a candidate and they're scared that she's going to win the election in 2027. So they brought some probably trumped up ridiculous charges against her and saying, oh, she won't be able to run. She's disqualified for being convicted of this charge, suspended sentence, probation. And she said, well, they're just doing that because they're scared I'm going to win. So she's trying to get a higher court to overturn. So, yeah, they do these kind of things. They'll say democracy, democracy, unless they think they're going to lose, and then democracy out the window, and they'll start coming up with all kind of schemes to prevent the people from voting. Green bottle. This is what they did in the United States. They say democracy, democracy. They knew what was coming. So then you started seeing all these charges brought against President Trump, because then they said, well, he's a convicted criminal and that'll hurt him and people won't vote for him. But people could see through that. That wasn't fooling anybody. Even the people doing it weren't fooled. They knew what they were doing. So people in the United States looked at that as a sham. you know, saying anybody else would have, the charges wouldn't have been accepted, but they just did it because they wanted to obviously hang a conviction on it. You know, it was crimes like, oh, you didn't fill out this paperwork correctly. You were supposed to put your signature in line 11C, and you put it in a line 17C, which in New York is a misdemeanor, but we're going to classify it as a felony because it's very serious to put that on line 17C instead of 11C. We call those process crimes. They very common in the Soviet Union. Anybody they didn't like, you know, they would all of a sudden charge them with something, you know, like, oh, you violated the Crime Against Responsible Citizenship Act. What does that mean? Oh, well, you made a statement saying that the country is not truly democratic, and all people know that the Soviet Union is a socialist workers' paradise. So you obviously knew that it was a lie, and so you're guilty of crimes against the well-being of the people act, you know, that kind of stuff. And so that's what these Soviet style people in the United States will do. They have a Soviet mentality, or like you have in communist China, and so but they're not dealing with China or Russia, so it doesn't, people in the United States are wise to that, so they say, wait a minute, you know, this Soviet style stuff not going to fly over here. And so then you had this big, which you had the election results in November. You say, well, what's the difference between a liberal and a leftist? A liberal is a dreamer, but a leftist is a schemer. You see the difference? So that's our lesson for today. Now on with this. I had to do something while I was pouring them. I had to fill some time. All right. Anyway, you can see that the two gingers is very pale, very, very pale, and pale straw. And I don't think it's got any coloring, caramel coloring added. It might, but maybe 1 drop per barrel. This one is dark amber, and I get the impression that it probably does perhaps have a little caramel coloring added, especially, I don't know. They're both aged 4 years. So 4 years in ex-bourbon barrels, 4 years in some kind of barrels, doesn't say. Let's see, any more comments? That Irish whiskey you have is probably cheaper in America, even though it's made in Ireland, laughing out loud. Right. And then you're factoring in, they have to bottle it. I think they bottle it in the United States, but they have to ship it over here in a container. That's a cost. Then they have to bottle it in Chicago, Illinois. There's another cost. And then send it out to different states. Chicago to Louisiana is over 900 miles. Another cost, but yet it's still $14.99. Think about that. Joe Cobb says, morning, Ron, going shopping today. Excellent. I hope you find some good stuff. Might get a haircut. Good. I got mine. Joe Cobb said, also, we don't have free speech. Technically, we have reasonable limits and a judge decides. Right. So not really free speech, kind of like controlled speech. They'll put you on a fine for, you know, a disrespectful statement, that kind of stuff. Yep, the people in the United Kingdom get in trouble for Facebook posts. That's right. They wanted to do that in Canada, but it did not go through. Okay, so Sean says, Craft Beer Tastic says the U.S. legal system is very dysfunctional. It's not the legal system that's dysfunctional. It's there are problems with it, like the 14th Amendment and all, but it's the people running it who are dysfunctional. But they're not dysfunctional. They know what they're doing. They just don't like the system, so they want to manipulate it. They would prefer more of a, like I said, a hammer and sickle style, Soviet style system. This, you know, they don't like the Constitution. But they don't say that openly too much because it doesn't sell too well. They'll say all that later when they get control, if they ever do. It's a tactic to stop dissent. That's right. The world is okay. Well, you know, we're very confident. We're not down and negative. And I think that's another reason for the big victory in November, because we didn't really come across as mopey and whiny and saying, you know, oh, it's a shame and the way people do me. It's all over. See, those that approach always loses. You know, it's all over. Give up. Don't even try. And a lot of times those people are plants into the movement, the freedom movement. They're planted to send that message. You know, there's no hope. Give up. You need to stockpile food, hide in a shelter, go away, disappear. But then you have the more confident message that was promoted by the people that won, and they were saying it's not over and we're going to win and we can defeat these bad people. And will defeat. So you want to have a confident, you want to be confident. Well, look at the results. So, you know, you don't be mopey and negative, and you know, you get these people that get these strange religious ideas, and they'll go around saying, you know, it's all over. Jesus is going to come back, the rapture, we're going to get taken out. I don't, you know, and that's another thing that was planted, actually. That's to neutralize the public. And you have them. All right, now, so on with this. Oh, I got to show the websites. So Two Gingers is not much to see. It looks like it's formatted for a phone, not this desktop, you know, because it's all narrow with a lot of space on either side. This award-winning spirit is smooth, malty, and slightly start with a tingle of honey and citrus. A blended Irish whiskey, distilled twice and aged 4 years in the mild climate. The woody essence suggests caramel and vanilla to the finish. Okay. Hot, typical type of thing. A lot of ice in a tall glass with garnish, and so not my type of thing. Irish snapper, another highball. Two Gingers, hot toddy. Well, I might want that if I had a sore throat. All right, visit us, Lower Main Street, Agamore, Kilbeggan County, Westmeath. And Suntory Global Spirits is the parent company. Suntory owns Kilbeggan. It says right there on the look right there. There. Proper number 12. Started by a sports celebrity. He's no longer the brand because he kept getting in trouble, and the company was like, nah, associated with this character. So that's they no longer reference him on the website. You know, if you read this whole website, you'd never know that it came from a celebrity sports character. All right. But that you read this and it says blending the finest single malt aged in the finest ex-bourbon barrels. Now, you're going to tell me they're using the finest. That means there's no better malt in the world than what they're using. And they're aging it in the finest. That's the no better bourbon barrels on earth to age it. But yet it's only $26.99. Seems like something ain't right there. Maybe they're exaggerating. The company's called Airborne Spirits, but it's really Proximo Spirits, as it says. Airborne is just a subsidiary or not really even a subsidiary, just a nameplate for Proximo Spirits. And who is Proximo Spirits? Oh, yeah, they make a 12 apple, number 12 apple, which I've never had, but I'm sure. And if you like apple flavored whiskey, I could live without that. Cuervo, Jose Cuervo is Proximo Spirits. I was watching a video and the guys were saying, yeah, did you know that Proximo bought out Jose Cuervo? And I'm watching the video thinking, no, they didn't buy it. They formed it. Jose Cuervo Company formed Proximo Spirits as an umbrella company to control all their liquor brands. They weren't bought out. It's like people saying, oh yeah, you know, Guinness got bought out by Diageo. No. Guinness is Diageo. Diageo was formed by Guinness. the Guinness Beer Company formed Diageo through a merger with another big company called Grand Metropolitan of London. And they wanted to make this huge liquor, beer, and wine empire, mostly big liquor and beer, liquor and beer. And so Guinness is really the backbone behind the company. Oh, well, anyway. Now, with some of these multinational companies, you know who's behind it because you got like one called PepsiCo. Well, you say, well, everybody knows who PepsiCo is. Pepsi Cola Company. Right, that's right. But they call it PepsiCo just to let you know who's in control of it. And they actually developed that name in 1965 when Pepsi Cola Company merged with Frito-Lay. Snack company, you know, potato chip and corn chip company, Frito-Lay. But they called it PepsiCo, not Pepsi / Frito-Lay. They wanted to let you know who was really in control of it, who was the majority, you know, the majority cats in it, majority people. And they got so much control in the world today. Go to any Taco Bell, Kentucky Fried Chicken, A&W. There is A&W root beer restaurants, believe it or not. Pizza Hut. And you'll never see anything but a Pepsi product in those stores, restaurants, sorry. And if you know the history of Taco Bell, KFC, Pizza Hut, and so forth, you'll know why they only sell Pepsi products there. There's a clear and present reason. You say, but the parent company's Yum! Exclamation mark brands. Yum! Brands, that's right. But go ahead and read about Yum Brands. You'll find out. Okay. Cereal Green. I'm telling you, these Irish whiskeys smell like a box of cereal. I don't know. I don't know if it's bran flakes or Special K or grape nuts or something like that. Or amalgamation of those. It's what it smells like to me. I mean, obviously, it's 40% alcohol. The box cereal is no alcohol, but no, mine. But yeah, same thing. So is the aroma different here? No, not really. I have to close my eyes because if I look and see the pale, if I see the pale whiskey, I'm gonna know it's the two gingers. All right. Sugar. I find that any whiskey, I don't care if it's bourbon, American blended, Canadian blended, Irish blended, Scotch blended, single malt Scotch, they all taste like sugar water to me, to varying degrees. All right. So there we go. There we go. See, this one has a little bit more honey. That one over there almost seemed like it had smoke. You say, you're mad. Man's going crazy. I haven't gone crazy. In fact, the doctor told me, he said, Ronald, you're so sane that you're insane. I don't know why I taste smoke. Is it a heavy note of it? No. Is it profound? No, it's just a wisp, like the smallest inkling. Almost as though it's a mirage. Like you say, oh, look, there's some palm trees. Now we'll get water. And you get there. Oh, it was just heat. It's heat reflecting off the sand. In other words, a mirage. And maybe that's what this one is, a mirage. A Mitsubishi Mirage. I think that's the type of mirage it was, a Mitsubishi Mirage. Not a Lancer or a Galant. Oh, ho, ho, ho. He. Ho, ho, ho. Ha, ha, ha. All right. That's the proper number 12. Oh, yeah. I'm going to read the comments. Don't you worry. Got it right. I got it right. So that puts me at 7 wins, 3 losses. Is that something to be proud of? Not really. 7 out of 10, 70%. But I prefaced this whole challenge with the caveat of I thought it was going to be very difficult because it's still pretty dark outside. I hate daylight saving time. Because I said that I thought the proper number 12 would be much more similar to the rest of the products than different. I don't think it's that different. Are there differences between it and other regular Irish whiskeys? There are differences. Are they meaningful? They're not. Oh, that's a bad word. Meaningful. They're not appreciable. That's the word. They're not an appreciable difference. I guess they're meaningful. There are differences, but they're not in any way. They're not important. So, am I getting to the point where you probably should just shop price? I think you should. I would recommend that if you're buying proper number 12 and you're not dedicated to it, like you might be open-minded to buy a different brand, I think you might just want to look at the price point. Sean says, laughing and crying, laughing and crying. You have a point, but it's still going. Yeah, we have hope. You have to have hope. I mean, obviously, there's points where you don't, but you don't want to have on a realistic outlook. Odd for an Irish whiskey to only be distilled twice, says Scotch Sunday. It is odd, and they talked about that on their press releases, that they did something a little different by design. Now, the claim from the founder, whose name is listed on the website, Colin Furian, I think, but it doesn't matter because we know he's still associated with the company, or he wouldn't be on the website. You know, they'll scrub your name off. But his reasoning, and there's a bunch of YouTube videos that he made back in 2011 talking about, and news reports about it and everything. He was in Minneapolis. He was a bartender in Minneapolis, and that's where he developed it. Well, I mean, obviously Ireland, but he said that he wanted to do it double distilled because he felt that triple distilled washed the flavor out too much. You know, it made it too mild, too mellow, too bland. So he said, we're only going to distill it twice. Give it more flavor, more character, more punch. And I do think it has a little bit more flavor, character, and punch. Now, you say, well, they're skipping a step. So that's time, and time is money. So that's another reason it's cheaper. That's probably right. Probably right. It's probably why it's a little bit cheaper, because you're skipping a step. Still aged 4 years, though. I don't think it's sold in my town. I don't recall ever seeing it here in this town, but this town is not big. It's less than 29,000 people. But I found it in more than one location in areas closer to New Orleans. Is it common? No. It's around. It's not exactly rare, but it's not common. It's like every liquor store sells 2 genders. You might see it here and there. You will see it here and there. Like if you go to International Market in Metairie, Louisiana on Barron Street, it's there on the shelf. And it's always $14.99, never changes. Proper number 12 is common. Every liquor store I've ever been to around here sells it, which means every grocery store or convenience store. We don't really have liquor stores here because gas stations and convenience stores and grocery stores sell liquor. So why would you... There's a guy, they say he's starting a liquor store here in this town. And I told the distributor, he was showing me photos on his phone. Look what they're doing with this building, all these beautiful shelves and everything. Spending a lot of money on it. I said, yeah, but that's a risk, you know, because I say liquor stores always fail in this town. And he made a bad face. I said, yeah, because why would you take time to go to the liquor store when you're already at Walmart, or you're already at Winn-Dixie grocery store, and you could just buy the liquor there and you already got your groceries and you leave. They tried to build, they opened one, it's called Jam's Bottle Up. Did they have a good selection? Yeah, they did. Were the prices fine? Yeah, they were fine. It was very well maintained. It was clean, neat, everything. The owners were friendly. No problem. But they failed. They went out of business after about 2 years. Why is that? Well, it might have been 3 years. Because the whole reason I gave, there's no point to go to a liquor store in a town where everybody can sell liquor. You say, well, in Los Angeles, you can only sell liquor at a liquor store. Well, common sense. So there is very common in Los Angeles, California, to see liquor stores on every corner. New York City, same thing. You can only sell liquor at a liquor store. So they thrive. There's no competition. Get it? You say, well, that's most places. Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. But we're talking about Louisiana, which is a little more unusual. Now, I said California, but doesn't California allow grocery store liquor sales? But I know they have liquor stores in California. There's got to be a reason. I don't know. I don't know. All right. But I know with New York City and Georgia and Mississippi and Alabama and Florida, I know for sure there, and in Tennessee, by the way, I guarantee you there, you can only buy liquor in a liquor store. And Texas and Arkansas and Oklahoma. So there's a bunch of states. Missouri, Maryland. I mean, golly, Maryland. Look at Maryland. You can only buy beer, wine, or liquor at a liquor store. You can't even buy beer at a grocery store in Maryland, which is a criminal. That's a monopoly. They're not doing that to protect the public. Forget that. They're doing it to protect a special interest. Who is who? Liquor store owners. You got it. Got nothing to do with the public safety. It's all about these guys are juiced in. They got political connections to the government officials, and they're not going to change it. I hope over to Lake Charles, see what store picks they have. But liquor stores get store barrels. Oh yeah, my local grocery stores here do that. They get called barrel picks. Oh yes, very common. As a matter of fact, it's so common now that it's not even really special anymore. If every store got a barrel pick. But I mean, I get it. They can put their name on it, kind of promote their store with the product. You know, Buffalo Trace, Jerry's liquor store barrel pick. No problem. Ricky's does it. Star does it. Now, Ricky's is one of the few liquor stores I know about around here that really thrives. They don't sell gasoline. Well, actually, technically, it's a convenience store. They sell milk, aspirin, you know, razors, orange juice. But you go there, you can see clearly it's 99% liquor and wine, and a little bit of craft beer and regular beer. I think there's a law in Louisiana where if it's a convenience store that happens to sell liquor, it's a cheaper tax than an actual liquor store. So you'll have these convenience stores that just happen to sell liquor, but it might be 99% of their sales and their product. That's that we call that a loophole, but that's okay. I'd do the same thing. But Ricky's is an amazing place. Oh man, if you went in Ricky's, you'd be so shocked. You'd be so shocked. It's famous, man. And believe me, those distributor guys, they bow down to them. They got to, because that store has so much volume, so much traffic coming through there. They got to play the game. And that store's open on Christmas Day. Christmas Day, everything in the whole town is shut down, except for the Chinese restaurant across the street and Ricky's. And it'd be people back in line, back to the wall, checking out, because they got people want to buy liquor on Christmas Day. Only store open in the whole town. Even Star isn't open. All right. So the winner today, I have to admit, the winner is Two Gingers. Is it a better product? Not really a better product. This camera gets unfocused, you see. It's just that it's so much cheaper. I mean, $12 cheaper. I would suggest save the $12. I mean, save the $12 and you're going to get a mighty fine product. And the Whiskey Scout told me that Kilbeggan makes good stuff. So he knows what he's talking about. He just finished doing a taste challenge series with bottle and bond liquors, most of which I've never tried, so I couldn't watch it. But I think he would like Two Gingers. I don't think he's had it, but he does know about Kilbeggan. All right. Anyway, y'all take care. And tomorrow we're going to go into combat. Proper 12, battling Duhan's. I think that's discontinued. I can't prove it, but I think it's gone. You might see Duhan's here and there in a box. It comes in a nice, elegant looking box. You know, it looks kind of fancy, but it's an independent bottled whiskey. You know, they don't have a Duhan's distillery. And the bottle looks just like the Kilbeggan, the Two Gingers. Got the same cap. So that leads me to believe that it's probably made by Kilbeggan for this independent company. But I don't think they make it anymore. I think everybody pulled it. But, you know, every independent little company is not going to make it. You know that. They're not going to make it. I mean, even big companies go under, so you got to expect little ones will fail sometime. All right, well, y'all take care. And then I'm going to close it out with the Busker, which is a pretty nice triple distilled Irish whiskey, blended from Royal Oak Distillery. And then I have the Busker single grain, which is not too good. I'll just tell you that openly, it's not too good. And then I'm going to close it out with Eyed and Stills. Now, this camera's driving me nuts. Eyed and Stills only been on the market 3 years, 2022, and it's produced for a handling company. I'll say a handling company because they procure it for Total Wine and More. So it's a Total Wine. You can only buy it at Total Wine and More. It's made for them. It's one of those what you call captured brands, house brands. It's called Eyed and Stills. And if you look at the website, they're just open about it. They said, we make this for Total Wine and More. So they're not trying to hide it, play around, play games. So that's a really good one. And I got a good price. I think it was $17. So that's a real nice one. So, and then we're on to Scotland. So enjoy the Irish whiskeys because we'll be going on to Scotland. Single malt coming up, single malt. And I'm very excited about that. We all take care now. Bye-bye.